Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. Today, our guest is star of football, stage, screen, and a bunch of other things, and he plays golf. Gary?
Everybody, this guy's been in your home many times on TV as a player, as an analyst. Uh, I think his greatest feat in his career was as a punt returner. The same year he was playing quarterback for the Washington Redskins, and he's on that short list of players who've played in a Grey Cup in the Canadian Football League and the Super Bowl, which he won. The great Joe Thiesmann. Joe, thanks for being here today.
Kathy, Gary, great to be with you. Thank you.
Sorry, we don't have any applause for you. Ordinarily, you would receive
Quite all right. I appreciate it.
You gotta, look, reviewing your career, I ran across the punt return thing and I forgot about that. It's a reminder what a great athlete you were, but tell me about, go back and you're on the Redskins and you're returning punts. And you're obviously one of the backup quarterbacks. What was going on?
Well, actually, I had returned punts in high school. I actually started my first 7 games at the University of Notre Dame as a sophomore. I was a punt returner. And in the Canadian Football League, they have what's called a single up there. If the ball's punted in the end zone and you don't get it out, the team that punted in gets 1 point. So my job was to catch the ball and punt it back out. So at every level, I've been returning punts, and I used to love to do it after practice. And in 1974 against the Giants, we'd lost both our punt returners. So I snuck up behind George Allen, our coach, and I said, Kenny Houston was the punt returner. I said, Kenny's hurt. You want me to go in? And he waved me in. And he turned to our special teams coach. He said, what's he doing out there? And he said, you sent him in to return punts. He says, get him off the field. Well, George was all about, if you could show me you could do it, I'll let you do it. And so for the next 2 years in 74 and 75, I returned punts.
I think I saw you had a 44-yard return in there.
I had a pretty good one at one time. And I also punted. I have a 1-yard average. I was a record holder in the National Football League for a number of years because I'm such a lousy punter. They claim Sean Landeta has one at -6, but I find that I'm disputing that. I think I'm the worst punter in the history of football. So I'm going to hold on to that title as long as I can.
What was the occasion that you came in to punt? Was it a trick punt? Or
no, it turned out to be a trick. I can tell you that. Right. But it was actually against the Chicago Bears in 1985, third game of the season. Our punter, and our kickoff guy got hurt. And so I went into the game and I walked up to Coach Gibbs. I said, "You're looking for a punter?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "I can punt." He looked at me, "You can what?" So went out on the field. Make a long story short, I'm standing on the goal line. Ball's on the 15-yard line, and we've got a 10-7 lead. And I figured Danny White had punted for the Dallas Cowboys and was their quarterback. So if he could do it, why not me?
Right.
So it didn't turn out very well. I actually have a picture of it. The ball is like at 3 o'clock, it's like 2 o'clock. My knee is bent, and the ball went 16 yards. So it's a total 1 net yard. So I am the worst punter in the history of football.
But there probably was no return on that, right?
There was, unless
wasn't bad.
Unless the person in the 4th row wanted to run out onto the field, Gary, there wouldn't have been a return.
Now, Joe, Gary mentioned something interesting there about you being in everyone's living room. That's a big responsibility when you're on television every week. Yeah. When you're playing on the field, it's one thing because the only people who can hear you then, at least back in the day, are your teammates. And you come into people's homes and they feel like they know you. So when you see people on the street or you see them out at events where you're a celebrity person, how do they react to you? Do they still treat you like they know you, even though they don't?
They really do. I mean, people do come up, but I appreciate it very much. I was fortunate enough to do a couple of Hallmark movies and, of course, broadcast for 23 year without a helmet on. As a player, a lot of guys walk the streets and nobody knows because they wear a helmet.
Right.
And now, after what I got into with the motivational speaking I do and traveling around the country as I do, people see me and they come up. But it's interesting, Kathy. What they do is they come up and say, "I know that voice." Because there's Joe Thiesmann, Joe Montana, Joe Thiesmann. They don't know which Joe I am, but they say, "I know that voice." And it's funny. My voice gets recognized probably more than my face at times.
Well, that's nice. I mean, everybody likes to be remembered
Appreciated. It is
and
really appreciated.
appreciated, and obviously you didn't do anything horrible enough that people are afraid to talk to you.
Horrible enough. Oh my God.
Well, there's some
Trying-
people you
trying not to.
you
Let's put it
wouldn't
that
want
way.
to talk
Trying
to.
not to. Trying not to.
You haven't had that Scotty Scheffler moment yet.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
that's good.
It's it's such a crazy world we live in. Growing up the way I did, growing up where I did in South River, New Jersey. And oh, by the way, I just got a street named after me in my hometown. Thank you very
that
much.
is cool.
Congratulations.
Everybody. It was an incredible celebration of our family name, and it's most appreciated. But that situation Scotty went through was unbelievable. And I didn't expect him to play real well in the Open, to be honest with you. I mean, he's been going so hot and so hard for so long. Sooner or later, you just run out of gas. And I think he just really got tired.
Does that apply to all sports, do you think?
I think so. Especially the National Football League, for example, we play 17 games.
Yeah.
There aren't many preseason games now. So those 17 games can get long and you don't really get a day off. It's not like pitchers get a day off or, hockey's another one where they go at it hard all the time with the different lines. But I think in golf, you've got the pro-ams, which everybody is accommodated, and they've done a great job, the pros playing in. And then you go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you make the cut. That's 5 days a week. And you look at what Scotty has accomplished this year. That's a lot of golf over a long period of time. And the break will be good for him. I think the break will be good for Rory, too. I think there's been a lot of pressure on him as well.
Winning the Memorial, it's so draining to win, and he didn't have his A game on Sunday. That's physically and emotionally draining. So, and then he got on a plane and flew right to Pinehurst on Sunday night, where maybe he should have gone home for 2 days and relied on his caddy for course knowledge and just showed up Wednesday morning.
No,
a little refreshed. But that's a tough back-to-back. It's kind of like playing a Sunday night game, then you got to play on Thursday night. Those guys are.
We used to do that in the Canadian Football League. We played 3 games in 10 days. We'd travel out west of Vancouver or Calgary or Edmonton, and we'd stay out west. We'd play 3 games. We played Sunday. So we play Sunday, Thursday, Tuesday or something like that. Sunday, Thursday, Wednesday. Yeah, I've been down that road too. And it is the only good thing about that is coaches really can't change the game plans a lot. So you're basically running the same plays and you become pretty proficient at it. If you have the athletes to be able to be better than somebody else, it works out well.
Okay. And you know what their plays are and they know what yours are. So if you have some mystical advantage or the coach sees something you can do, then maybe that's how you take advantage of them in football.
Yeah, we can make adjustments on the fly pretty quick. When you're running the same plays, you can adjust a formation pretty simply. The thing is, you're playing 3 different opponents.
Right.
And basically, in the Canadian Football League, because there's 12 players, there aren't a whole lot of things they can do defensively. They can basically play a zone or they can come after you. Those are the 2 things. And your offenses are usually built to handle both of those scenarios. But yeah, I've been down that road where you play, you take treatment, you get up, you go play again, you take treatment, you go play again, and then you get about a week off, a little bit more. So it works out pretty well.
By treatment, I assume you mean Molson.
No. No the bats either.
I know this is ancient history, but it's kind of forgotten. Even though I was around then, you had such a great career at Notre Dame. You got the revenge on Texas in the Cotton Bowl. You're second in the Heisman voting to Jim Plunkett. You had a great career in the NFL. How did you wind up in Canada at first? Were people in the NFL doubters, or how did that work out?
Not really doubters. I was drafted in the 4th round by the Miami Dolphins, and I wound up basically just running into a contract issue. Flew up to Toronto. They made me an offer. I signed the deal and came back down. And Eric Parsigian, my head coach at Notre Dame, was my consultant, whom I never consulted. And he calls me at 6 o'clock in the morning. He says, "What have you done?" I said, "I signed with the Argonauts." He said, "I know. Shula's on a plane," because Miami had drafted me in the 4th. Shula's on a plane up here right now, and Don read me the riot act. But I wouldn't trade the 3 years I spent in Toronto. Absolutely loved it.
I can't imagine what it's like to have Don Shula dress you down. He's not a rookie at that.
No, he's not. Not at all. It was one of the most memorable non-football moments of my life.
So you played so well in Canada, obviously. That got you got you to the NFL. How did that work out?
Well, George Allen traded a number 1 pick to Miami for me, and I wound up backing up Billy Kilmer and Sonny Jurgensen for 4 years. And then in 1978, I had the chance to be able to play.
Well,
do you still have any Toronto?
I'm sorry.
Do you still have any Toronto jerseys that you keep around?
I have one. I have one at home. I keep. Back when I played, we didn't have a lot of jerseys. We didn't have to give them away because they were being sewn. They were heavy.
Okay.
It's not like today where guys will change jerseys at halftime and they give them away to the opponents every now and then. It's a different world in athletics completely.
Yeah. Okay. Before I know we're going to talk about golf in a minute because you're here because of the American Century Championship out in Lake Tahoe coming up in July. But you mentioned college football. How would you like to be a college quarterback now, making about $3 million a year legally while you're in school?
No wonder why these guys want to stay in school so long. I mean, we were granted the 6th year because of the pandemic, and a lot of guys have done that. I just think it's we no longer have amateur sports. We don't have amateur athletics really in college. I mean, you're paying college athletes. Certainly, there's always the argument that a scholarship is basically a payment that your parents don't have to make. Certain schools are $80,000 a year. And they include room, board, books, tuition, everything else, where other students have to pay. And yet people want to argue and say, well, the athletes aren't being paid. I don't necessarily agree with that. But that, this genie's out of the bottle. And Gary, let me tell you, you're not putting it back. And the portal is the other one. What we basically have done is we're teaching young athletes how to quit and go someplace else if they don't like what they see instead of competing for a job. And that scares the living daylights out of me when it comes to foundationally teaching young people that if you want something, you really need to work for it. Instead of just having your opinion of yourself or someone else's opinion of you, thinking that you can go someplace else. You don't really create a foundation of education in any aspect of life. Yeah. So it scares me a little bit what's going on in college.
It's funny how we've gone from one and done to these guys don't want to leave. I mean, a lot of people said Caitlin Clark should stay because she would make a lot of money in her senior year at Iowa. She's getting a lot of endorsements, but it's funny how that's just flipped the whole thing. I mean, they're going to have to. I was in favor of players getting paid, but not like this. And you're going to have some standardization of salary, perhaps. And
I totally agree.
I don't know how and maybe you can only go through the portal once. Maybe you can't just do a revolving door. I don't know. It's going to have to be refined, I think, though.
Some things have to be walked back. I totally agree with you, Gary. I think something needs to be done, or else it's spiraling out of control right now. But if they don't stop, it's going to get worse.
I just want Kathy to note that one of our guests finally said, "I totally agree with you, Gary." Now on the record.
Let's talk about your golf game.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing golf?
Oh gosh, I started when I went to Canada. So I'd say probably around the age of 21, 22, and I'm a little bit older than that now. So I've been playing at the game of golf for a long time, and it's a continuing work in progress. As a matter of fact, I just, when you get older, there's this fight to preserve the youth that you had, thinking you could hit clubs the same distance you did when you were younger, or having the same shafts that you had before. I've just gone through a shaft. As a matter of fact, I'm getting some new clubs, and I've had 65 gram shafts for a long time in my irons, and I just knocked it down to 50. And I played with the set the other day, and I shot 74, which is one of my lower rounds this year. But what a difference it makes being able to get through the ball and be able to hit it without trying to muscle the ball with a heavier shaft. I recommend this to anybody out there. If you feel like if you feel like the club is heavy in your hand, think about dropping the grams down and find something that you can get through the ball with. It takes a lot of stress off your body. It gives you a lot more confidence that you can hit the shots the distance you want. Because what I found, I was losing distance. My 7-iron went from 155 to 135. Changed the shaft. All of a sudden, I'm back up to 150.
Well, if you swing less, you can swing it faster.
Yeah, that's right. And what you're doing is you're creating clubhead speed, which allows the ball to go further.
Yeah,
that's the hot part of the golf equipment marketplace is the driver shafts and the wood shafts. I've been using this South Korean mystery shaft called the Autoflex for this is my third year. It weighs about 40 to 44 grams. They did not patent it because that's a license to steal. But lighter, it should go crookeder and not as far. And yet it kind of kicks at the end. It actually goes straighter. And I picked up 12, 15 yards of carry. And now it's after 3 years of that being on the market, Newton Motion has come out, and there's 2 or 3 other companies probably that sort of engineered the same thing. But you're talking about driver shafts now that are 40 to 45 grams that even a younger person who's got 105 mile an hour club head speed, they've got, I mean, these shafts are incredible. So you're totally right. And everything you said is what I'm going through right now. It's like, and why can't I be consistent anymore? I can hit 2 good shots, and then my third shot is so bad.
Early. It just jumps away.
You're only as good as your worst shot. And
you know, when people tune in to NBC Peacock as well as the Golf Channel and watch the American Century Championship on those stations, July 12th through the 14th, you're going to see some guys hit balls like you just can't believe. I mean, they're just John Smoltz. Smoltzy's a great player. Marty Fish, Jack Wagner, and Jim McMahon are the only 2 that have played in all 35 years of the tournament. And then we have a great thing going on right now. It's if you go to www.accfantasygolf.com, it's an opportunity to win $10,000 for your favorite charity. All of the players are broken down into 5 groups. If you pick all 3 days, the 12th, 13th, and 14th, you win a trip for 2 back to next year's tournament. And the ultimate winner, like I say, gets a $10,000 prize. But we've got, and you know, American Century, the tournament itself has done fabulously. We've donated close to $8 million to charities, $750,000 purse. So it's a lot of fun. And it is the event for those of us that are not professional golfers that really, really look forward to having an opportunity to play. And it's the invitation event of the year as far as people that want to play golf goes. And American Century Investments, they do a spectacular job. They give away over 40% of their net profits to charity, to the Stour Institute in Kansas City. When you really stop and think about the amount of money that people are making in the markets and the charity donations that the American Century Investments make, it's just spectacular. I mean, it really is. It's a great event. It's a great event.
How did you first get invited, and how did you do in that first one?
Actually, when I was younger, I finished fourth or fifth one year. Now we play a modified Stapleford system. It's a little bit, can't reach the par 5s and 2, so it makes it a little tougher. So I focus on hybrids, wedges, and putting. That's my game right now. But I fared well early, and now as time has gone on and the distance isn't what it is, it's, you know, I try and finish somewhere in the middle of the pack. There are 80 players. I try and finish somewhere in the high 20s, maybe early, 30s or so. But if I can get there, I'll feel pretty good about everything.
Is it nerve-wracking at all for you to play with galleries and people around the greens and all that?
I'm sort of, Gary, used to people being in the stands, watching me play a little bit. You know, the biggest crowd I've played in front of is 100,000 at the Super Bowl. So, and it's funny, when you're on a golf course, I get the biggest kick out of this. Somebody sneezes or somebody says something, the golfers just stop and give them this scowling look like, how dare you do that when you're trying to focus on hitting a shot. It's like, give me a break, okay? But it's like, come on, just go with it. Enjoy it. We play music on the 17th hole. I mean, it's like I say, each of the players are broken down by their talent level into 5 different groups. And if you pick the right group on all 3 days, if you have the winner all 3 days, you win the $10,000 prize to go to charity. But you can change your fantasy team each day if you'd like. So if they log on to the website, like I said, it's www.accfantasygolf.com. It'll explain all the rules.
This is a tough one. Give me the single most memorable golf shot, for any reason it's memorable, that you've ever hit.
Well, I've had 3 hole-in-ones, and they're I had one in, let me see, my wife and I have been together now 32 years. So I was with Robin. My first hole-in-one was down at Loxahatchee country club down in Florida. She's riding in the cart with me. She really doesn't care for golf that way like I do. I hit the shot. I hit the hole in one. I went over. I said, "Rob, I made a hole in one." She went, "Oh, that's nice." And then that was my first one. But I actually made an eagle on 18 in the American Century Tournament a number of years ago, and all I saw was Hale Irwin. Remember that shot he made in the Open?
Yes.
All I saw was Hale running around giving everybody high fives. That's exactly what I did. You live for those moments, and they keep bringing you back.
Did you ever play in the Kemper Open when that?
I played with Tom Watson in the Pro-Am in the Kemper.
Okay.
So I have had it. Yes, I played. I mean, the golfers are so great. They're so giving. They're so wonderful. They're so eager to help. I've had the best time playing with guys. John Daly's been a friend for years, and I can't get the club back a third as far as John does.
No one can.
That's true. You're right. It wraps around his neck. And his son's a pretty good golfer too. Now, got Tiger's son out there, John's son. Got a lot of the a lot of the younger celebrities, I guess you could say, have sons and daughters that are really good golfers.
Well, by playing in this tournament, you get to hang out with a lot of celebrities, but mainly a lot of current athletes and football players. Obviously, it's given you a chance to talk to some of the who are some of the friendships you've developed from the tournament of, maybe guys who are even still playing that maybe you wouldn't have met otherwise. But
we get Notre Dame guys like, Jerome Bettis, Tim Brown are there. The quarterbacks, Alex Smith, David Wells has become a really, really close friend. Boomer's a great friend. There's so many of them. Vinny Del Negro. The list goes on and on and on of friendships. This is my 34th tournament. So I couldn't list everybody over the years. No. I had the opportunity to play one round with Michael Jordan and Mark McGuire. I was paired with those three because the first days they put people together just, however they want to do it. And then all of a sudden the next couple of days you wind up, it depends on how you finish. And I was fortunate enough to be able to play with those guys. So it's been exciting. And Annika's incredible. I mean, Annika Sorensen, she has been so close so many years, and she lives out there in Lake Tahoe. And I'm telling you, what a wonderfully gracious human being she is to be able. She spends time on the range with people. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person and a fabulous, obviously, Hall of Fame golfer.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
You've got a street named after you back home. Do the people there call it Thiesmann Street or Thiesmann Street?
The street was named Joe Thiesmann Street, Joe Thiesmann Way. Every now and then, someone would slip and say Thiesmann. When I go home to South River, I'm Joey Thiesmann.
Thiesmann, okay. Well, thank you so much for visiting with us. We don't want to take too much of your time. We know it's valuable, and the best of luck in the American Century Championship. And what's that website again?
The website is www.accfantasygolf.com.
Kind of miss you on football commentating, so hearing your voice again gives me that longing. You were so knowledgeable, and you presented so much information. That's why you were good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Great being with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.